Welcome back to the Real Joseph Lab, and I am Joseph Lab with another Topic Blitz edition with my man Mike Antonace. Mike, what's
I'm Mike
happening on this?
Antonace.
What's happening today, Mike?
Oh, whole bunch. Sports is rolling. Happiest and saddest time of the year. Football season's coming to an end, but I mean, at least it's exciting from the Cleveland Browns fan
Yeah, from the
standpoint.
Browns' perspective, we're gonna get into crazy weekend, Mike. We had New Year's Six bowls, had the playoffs last night. How was your New Year, Mike? Was you have a good New Year?
Yeah, I mean, I just stayed in. I'm an old man now, old bones, so I was stayed up long enough to wish the missus a happy New Year, and then I fell asleep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. I just stayed in. I mean, I haven't been out really in years, but uh, yeah, we just stayed home, just watched some football and hung out. Stayed up. My sister and I actually stayed up and watched a lot of the New Year's Day or New Year's night rather ambiance things they were doing or whatever you want to call it, the little performers and all that. We like to sit and watch and laugh at people, but
Right.
it is funny when you watch some of that stuff. It's just kind of like crazy nowadays what goes on compared to like when you were a kid, like 20 years ago, a lot more like traditional and classic. Now it's just crazy some of the stuff, but
Right.
entertaining though. It is entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. But outside of that, yeah. But the playoffs last night, we're gonna get into it. And what the heck happened on Friday down in at the Cotton Bowl with the Buckeyes too? That's the main topic for today. We'll get into that. But we got some
For
NFL football, Mike. It's week 18. Last
week
week for the
18, baby.
playoffs. For the
And
Brownies take on who?
the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to see a matchup of PJ Walker and Pierre Strong getting like 30 carries probably versus Jake Browning and the Bengals, who are playing for pride because they are eliminated from playoff contention. Yeah, so week 18, I'm actually more excited to talk about some of the other matchups because the Browns more or less have stated without saying it out loud that they're going to be resting a majority of their starters, which I think and agree with.
Yeah,
Um,
what's all this stuff with the people saying they should play? Like, oh, the rhythm. And I'm like, did they forget Joe Flacco came off the couch
yeah,
after,
it's
like,
one.
months and
I
played just fine?
Yeah, I get
Like
the thing where people are talking about momentum. I think that's a real thing, but at the same time, like this team is hot. I don't think they're going to let up in the playoffs. If anything, I think our defense plays better. I I just I mean, we're already riddled with injuries and playing well. I'd rather not,
yeah, it
throw
doesn't make
Amari
any sense,
Cooper out
and you
there
can get
who's
those
coming
reps in
off a
prac
heel injury. I'd rather
yeah,
not, you
it
God
doesn't make any
forbid
sense.
Joel
Joe
Bitonio.
Flacco
Right.
well, as like I said, I heard somebody say today, like, "Well, if I don't worry about Flacco's rhythm getting messed up." I'm like, "Well, number one, the guy didn't play for months, and he came off the street and looked just fine."
Yeah.
They didn't lose that Rams game because of Joe Flacco. They were in that game because of Joe Flacco, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the
Um,
defense did not
the
show up that
defense just had a bad day. But beside the fact, you're gonna get those reps in practice. Practice is still gonna be practice all week. Like, it's gonna be a hard practice week probably, that's
day.
how it should be. So, he's still gonna get the reps in practice. But also, if anybody needs rhythm right now, it's Tillman, Bell, and Goodwin.
Yeah.
So they're gonna get heavy volume this week because they need it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they kinda need especially with Elijah Moore, and glad he's, doing fine, and, he posted something yesterday, I think it
Yeah, he's
was, that he's
excited to be back for the
expected to be
playoffs,
back. We don't know
so
when we're
that's
gonna
good.
get him back. You don't know, but he's got a week. But still, I mean, that's why I kinda brought maybe and it was brought up today by some other people, maybe looking at Jarvis or somebody. I wouldn't mind that. But I think you still gotta get these guys going this week and get some repetition, get them some rhythm going because you're gonna need these guys in the playoffs. I mean, eventually David Bell or Cedric Tillman's definitely gonna have to make a play or two in a game, like
Yeah,
a play. So and Harrison Bryant too. I mean,
right.
I
And
want
Jordan Akins has looked good the past couple weeks. He's had a couple of catches that were kind of pivotal. So even if we can get some a modicum
well,
of play
even
out
if
of
you can get
him,
Pierre Strong rolling here down the stretch, you know, let's say if Jerome Ford's just not having a good game or Kareem's not. I mean, Kareem knows his role now. But if Jerome Ford's not able to get like going in a rhythm in a game in a playoff game, and Pierre Strong, you can throw him in there and get him going to get 4 or 5, 4 yards. You
yeah,
know what I mean? You just never know. You got to have these guys on deck and ready to go.
I like Pierce Strong a lot. He's an exceptional special teams defender, and I think that's really where he shines. But on offense, every time he touches the ball, something bad happens. So,
Yeah.
like,
And here, Jerome had his best game of the year last game against the Jets.
yeah, he did. And Jerome, over 1,000 yards of offense this year. He's going to finish with between pass and run, and I think he's a exceptional um, uh, running back in the pass game. So is where I think he really, really shines, especially like on those short check down routes. You get him into open space. He has really, really good awareness. Like you don't see running backs kind of like breaking free and running back to the ball on a route, like what you saw against the Jets. Like he just broke free of a linebacker, and I believe that was Quincy Williams, who's actually, or CJ Mosley. I'm sorry, it was CJ Mosley, who's actually in a pretty decent coverage linebacker, and he just breaks free and then goes 50 yards to the house. Jerome Ford has had a very exceptional season, at least from that aspect of his game. He did have a good night running the ball, and that's been here or there. I even thought Kareem Hunt in his limited snaps played pretty well running the ball.
Kareem's done his role all year, which is block well, and he's a touchdown machine, which is important. He scores points, and he can convert short yardage downs, which is important, especially in the playoffs. That's why you have Kareem, which is why I wouldn't mind if they looked at Jarvis. I know for some reason, I don't know why the Colts didn't. But that's the Colts. That's their problem. I think here, if Jarvis knows the system, and if Jarvis can get you one big play in a playoff game and an AFC Championship game, he's well worth it. So
I wouldn't mind signing him for depth.
And just for this
hopefully
run, you kind of owe it to Joe Flacco, I think, too, to give him another. Joe Flacco can trust Jarvis because he knows Jarvis. Jarvis can run a lot of drag routes, things like that. He can run that and convert some of those short downs or just those tough downs, like the third downs, tough catches, late clutch catches. I still think he has that in him for if you need him for 3-4 games possibly. So I think he can do that.
I wouldn't mind taking a look at it, and I think the Browns are exploring all their options, and whatever they do, I will be on board with. I trust this front office and coaching staff. So it'll be exciting in Week 18 to kind of see what Isaiah McGuire has, because he's going to get a lot more snaps, and the continuous ascension of Alex Wright, who I think is going to be a really pivotal part of this defense for years to come. He's really kind of shone brightly in this Jim Schwartz scheme, and he's becoming what the Browns hoped he would be. So great on that. He's had a sack in every single last game in the past 4. He has like 5.5 sacks on the year. So kudos to Alex Wright becoming a huge contributor on this defense. Not just that, but he's got some big stops in the run game too.
Really good athlete too.
Great athlete, big guy. They drafted him for the intangibles, and they're just growing the tangibles now. But what I really wanted to talk about, because again, it'll be exciting to watch some of the younger guys get more snaps, get more playing time, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, we got the 5th seed locked up. We're not going to see a lot of guys. At the end of the day, this Cincinnati game is putz,
meaningless.
Meaningless, right?
Kind of what we said 2 weeks ago. We're like, by the time we get to this game, it might be meaningless.
It might mean nothing, and you and I were right. Yeah. What I really want to talk about is there are some exciting storylines in the NFL, across the NFL, particularly in the AFC, in that the AFC South is legitimately going to come down to the last game. All of these teams, correct me if I'm wrong, at least the top 3 outside of Tennessee, poor Mike Vrabel, has the same record. I think they're all 9-7, if I'm not mistaken. So they're all 9-7. The Jags have had kind of an up and down year. Indianapolis, I think, has overachieved mightily, which is a huge.
And Stroud has really carried Houston.
And D'Amico
Ryans, they're back 7.
Their team. Yeah. Honestly, if Kevin Stefanski hadn't done so much with so little this year, because I believe he's a lock for coach of the year, I would have given it to D'Amico Ryans, who I thought has done a fantastic job in Houston. So is their new GM. Because you and I were kind of making fun of I'm guilty of it. I was making fun of the back-to-back picks, C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. But Will Anderson might win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and C.J. Stroud might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And they both.
I didn't mind I actually liked the aggression that night. I number one, I wanted Stroud. I thought Stroud was the best quarterback in the draft. But I didn't mind the aggression because I feel like they had to do it. You know, they had to
Yeah.
make a splash, and they probably didn't like what they saw. Because if you really think about it, is there a Will Anderson in this draft this year? I don't see one.
If there's one guy who can kind
But
of become that, but again, you're drafting him for like a Trayvon Walker, kind of like
that's
drafting
what I'm
him for the
saying. There's not
intangible.
like
But Lazio Latu and Dallas Turner, also from Alabama. I like both of
yeah,
those guys a
but
lot.
there's not like
But
a slam dunk, like, you know what I mean? Will Anderson was a slam dunk defensive end. Was he
yeah,
as good as some of the guys in the past? Maybe. No, but he's had a pretty damn good year, so who knows? I mean, he's panned out in the NFL to be looks like he's gonna be a great player. I mean, I think the Newton kid out of Illinois, which our buddy Jerry brought up, he's really rising now on some boards.
oh, Jerjon Newton, the
He might be the
defenseman,
guy that actually is like the dominant guy in this class because this is a quarterback driven class coming up. But
and offensive tackle. A lot of O
yeah,
tackles this
a
year.
lot of tackles, but I think though, I mean, Houston though, like when we played them, I didn't realize how bad their back seven is. Like, just,
Yeah.
I mean, for Amari Cooper to go out there and 250 plus yards receiving, that means you're pretty bad. But
And Derek Stingley is a good corner.
oh,
Like
he is, but I
he's
mean,
had a pretty good year. He just got sunned.
yeah, he just, yeah, I mean, it's just a bad matchup. We're
Yeah,
a matchup problem for them because
we're a matchup problem for almost anybody.
a lot of people. But I think they're the team I don't want to play out of the three because of just Stroud. Because I think Stroud's that good. Although he is coming back off an injury, so I don't really. Does it really matter to me who we play first? No, I think we're going to win either way. We've beaten all three of them in their houses, besides Jacksonville. But I actually think Jacksonville right now might be the
They're the
game that
worst home team ever in the league. They've
yeah,
only won
they're the
one game
worst
at
home
home.
team, and their O line's not that great against our front, which we
Trevor
saw
Lawrence
that.
is beat up. They're
And
back.
Trevor
Their
Lawrence is
DBs are bad. Their
that's what I'm
DBs are
saying. And
just
with
bad.
Trevor Lawrence hurt, I think our O line creating pressure, especially in the interior, which we did in that game we played them, it's going to make him scatter out of that pocket on that
Yeah.
on that injury. And because I think is it an ankle injury he has?
He has an ankle injury and he's coming off of a concussion.
Yeah, so if he's got a bad ankle, which I don't want to double check that, but or I'll look that up as
And
we're
a wrist
talking. But
injury. He's pretty, and he has a wrist injury. Yeah.
so if he's banged up though, and he's
pretty
going to
hurt.
roll out of that pocket, he's going to be trying to scatter. I mean, there's going to be a couple of interceptions in that game. I would,
Mhm.
I could see that happening. I think
And
it's a favorable matchup for us. And
right.
offensively, I mean, we actually kind of moved the ball on them pretty well in that game. I think we had a
Yeah.
couple stretches where we were a little stagnant, but
It's the
I think
tale of two defenses with Jacksonville. They have a great run stopping defense, actually like second best in the league. And then their pass defense, let me check, is 32nd.
yeah,
The worst,
when we
worst
played
pass defense
them,
in the league.
we outran them and we threw for more yards and we ran for more. With a banged up O line too that game. We didn't have our starters that game either.
No,
So
Ethan went out. Joel was out.
yeah, and we had 3 turnovers. They had 4. So looking back at that game, but I'm not worried about Jacksonville. I think that's probably who I think we're probably going to play. It's what it seems
Yeah.
like all along.
Yeah, we will play Jacksonville. So all Jacksonville needs to do to clinch their division is beat Tennessee.
I think they will.
I think they will. I don't know
Tennessee's kind of giving up the year, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Vrabel's out of there. So
Vrabel's interview today was, I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't say what he said.
All right. So a reporter had asked him, like, you seem frustrated. What's so frustrating? And he goes, "It sucks to lose." And then he like reiterates it, and he's like, "Yeah." And actually, let me add something. He goes, "It fucking sucks to lose," right up there. And then he like goes back at the reporter, and he's like, "Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts?" And I was like, "Woo!"
I like Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's
upset.
Yeah, he actually hung out with my mom and her friends and a bunch of other people in high school because he's a Walsh guy. They were on school at the same time. They used to all like
Forgetting his
places.
So weird.
It's weird, yeah. But yeah, I like Vrabel a lot. Wish he was at Ohio State right now, to be honest with you. But I have some other. We'll get into that later. Don't even get me started yet. But
stick on the NFL right now.
Yeah, but no, I think Vrabel though. I think he's definitely leaving. I think they'll win that game. I actually think Vrabel's going to end up in New England. I thought his comments earlier in the year when they played New England were pretty interesting. Almost like he was, kind of lobbying for the job in a way. So, and obviously he's a legend there in New England as well. So, yeah, I think Jacksonville will win, and I like that matchup for us. I think the The big one though is obviously the Dolphins and the Bills. I mean, you
That's
might.
going to be a lot of fun.
I
It's
mean, winner wins the division, which will actually it's going to impact us too because once
yeah,
we beat Jacksonville, as we should,
yeah,
or whoever we play really out of the South,
yeah. If we
it's going to
beat
be
the
one of those
AFC
two
South,
teams. Yeah, it's going to be probably one of those two teams. So obviously, I'd rather play with Miami to be honest with you.
Rex. Yeah, depending on how it all shakes out, it'll probably be the 2 seed. Um, if whoever loses that game, because there's a lot of like optics that go into it. That so Buffalo could end up the 6th seed, they could not make it at all, or they can win the division at 2, and whoever you expect whoever wins that division to beat the Chiefs. At least I think Buffalo would.
Yeah.
And then they would play Baltimore, and then you would play the 2 seed next. And I would love
Which
the
who would have
Dolphins.
thought
I would
Buffalo
love
would
the.
be here? Who would have thought? I mean,
They had a
at one point
really
in the season, you were kind of like, "Gee, they're going to be a wild card team." Now it's like they can win the division.
yeah, good for Joe Brady, man. Good for Joe Brady. He's
Yeah,
been,
yeah.
he's really established the run there. Um, Stuff's weird in Miami. I mean, they just lost Bradley Chubb to a
Which
season-ending
what a
injury.
debacle that
Oh my
was. Play
God,
that
in
guy in that
garbage time.
down.
Garbage time.
Again, we've been kind of vocal about Mike McDaniels. I think he's a nice offensive. He might be a nice offensive mind. Blah blah. But, I mean, my gosh, the guy was cold on the sideline in New York, telling
Mhm.
I'm cold, and then they're just a soft team. They're a gadget team. They get beat up at the line of scrimmage. Give me Miami, please. Give me
Yeah,
Miami in that divisional round because
and
one thing the Browns do, which is what Michigan does all year, and when we get to college football later, what Washington does as well, the trenches. Our trenches are second to nobody, and I mean, we can
yeah,
beat anybody. We won against Baltimore, and as that game went on, we started to beat them up in the trenches. We went against the Jets, who have good trenches the other night. The defensive line, O line did pretty damn well. I mean, you name it.
they're getting whatever they want.
Give me them because I mean, Tennessee on that game was it 3 weeks ago. I thought the game was over. Why did Tennessee win that game? Or because they just kept beating them down in the trenches. Because Rabel teams are not. They're gonna be physical up front, no matter how bad they are everywhere else.
Yeah,
They're gonna be physical up front. You can guarantee that. That's where it starts. That's the heart and soul of your team. And so, give me Miami,
yeah, I'd
please.
love Miami.
Come on,
I think
Miami, win
Miami's
this
second.
game so that we can beat the hell out of you in 2 weeks.
That would be fantastic, and
Especially
that
with
would give.
Waddle out too.
Oh yeah,
I
and that
mean,
would
you
give
saw what
Baltimore.
Baltimore did to him the other day.
Yeah, and that would give
Woo!
Baltimore a game against the Bills first, which that'd be a difficult game for them. And if they were to win and we
If the
were to
Bills
beat
win,
Miami,
AFC
AFC
Championship
Championship
game.
at home.
Ooh, I think that's our bet. We said it. That's our
That's our
best
path to
path.
victory. That is our
That's the
path
best path
to
to Vegas
Vegas.
right there. Yeah. I mean, an AFC, I mean, here, don't get me Buffalo, they are red hot down the stretch like us. Um, that's who's the hotter team right now? Buffalo or the Browns?
You
I mean,
know,
Buffalo's played some tougher teams, obviously, some bigger, but I don't know. I don't think it's like
they've had
just
a few cupcake games the past 2 weeks. I mean, they played the Pats and they almost lost to the Easton Stick-led Chargers. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we've had more impressive wins over more impressive defenses. Like the Patriots defense is good, but like
I just feel like the
nobody
Browns
shredded
have
the
a little more
Jets like
edge
they
to them
did.
right now.
Yeah, I
And to be
think that
honest with you, I mean, I know Joe Flacco's turned the ball over since he's been here a little bit. I think that's just
a
kind of
little
getting
bit.
back. Yeah, I think that's just kind of. I
Being
think that's
very
just kind of.
copacetic right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of rust, coming off the street. I mean, he's gonna have some rust, like that screen pass. He knows he messed up, but
That was a dumb play.
I mean, Joe Flacco, though, historically in the postseason has played his best football in his career,
Yeah,
and Josh Allen has been great in times too. But Josh Allen's also can be very turnover prone at times,
yeah.
and so I kind of would lean the Browns right now. Call me a homer, but I like our defense much better. To be honest with you, I think we have much bigger players on better big time playmakers on defense. If I could spit that out. And I just think too, David Njoku and Amari Cooper right now are playing their best football
Ever.
ever. I mean, Joe Flacco is even shown a level that people never really. Like I was talking to my uncle the other day, he's 38. He's watching Joe Flacco. he started watching the Browns in 2000, so he's watched Joe Flacco's whole career, plus seen him, break the break Browns fans' hearts many times. Him and Justin Tucker. But anyways, and Ray Lewis. But he's like, I never seen this guy play like that. And I've heard many people say that. I've really watched this guy
Yeah.
his whole career. I'm like, I don't think so either. I mean, it's a shame all those years when he was in Baltimore, they weren't able to really
Get him a good receiver.
a good offense. Like they just never really prioritized it because they had such a great defense, but they never. What could this guy have been really? I mean, I didn't know he had this kind of talent like that. I didn't even know that. I'm like, damn. But I would probably lean the Browns. But again, I think, like you said, that's our best path to the playoff is the Dolphins win this weekend, and then the Bills would beat the Ravens in that divisional round. And obviously, we make it today's championship game with that home game in Cleveland. I mean, that you saw that electric that stadium was the other night.
Thursday night, yeah.
I mean, there was players were tweeting about it 2 days later. Like, I still can't get over it. You saw one guy said he played in the SEC in like a big time games. Those are some crazy ass fans down there, and he was like, nothing compares to what I went through the other night.
Yeah,
and it was that. I mean, imagine what an AFC Championship game would be like.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Buffalo fans would have to pay $3,000 to get a seat.
Well, yeah, and it's just it's not the we're not the friendliest fans at times. We're not pro. We don't want it. We want everybody to be safe and go to the game and go home. But
Absolutely.
But we're not saying that. But it's a tough environment. It's a very hostile environment, especially when they're in the Muni lot all day too, because that's what would happen leading up to that game. They'd have extra hours. It's not a 1:00 game, so they would have extra hours outside that Muni lot to get ready for that game, which means it'd be more electric stadium.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know what that means. So
yeah, exactly. And I think Sunday night's going to be a really, really fun game to watch just as a football fan. That's the game I'm probably most excited to watch. Is that. So, yeah, no, I'm hyped for it. And
any other ones? I mean, what else we got this weekend? Any other playoff implications or anything?
The Packers win and they're in. That's pretty exciting, I guess. But other than that, in the AFC, it's pretty tight knit. You have a bunch of teams in the hunt, specifically in the AFC South. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But
yeah, I don't really. I think you might have a little more. Who do you think gets in? I mean, who do you think's your 7 in both sides? I mean, obviously you got Baltimore.
I'm gonna go. I think Miami will try and play their best game of football Sunday night at home. So I do think they beat the Bills.
Are they at home that game?
Yeah, they are.
I believe on the road.
I could be wrong. Fact check.
Live fact. That's in Miami on Sunday night. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think they're going to try and turn up for that for the division. So I'm going to go Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, Jacksonville, us, Buffalo, and then I'm going to give the 7th seed to the Colts.
I kind of agree with that. I think the Colts will win because they've actually played them pretty decent down the stretch too, and they got healthier. Jonathan Taylor's back. I mean, he's playing well. I agree with you. I think, that's the 7 I would have. Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Buffalo, Indianapolis, which I think sets up perfectly for us. I actually think us winning the division matchup-wise could be a blessing in disguise for us if we do what we're supposed to do. So,
right.
Because if Buffalo, like I said, if Buffalo beats Baltimore and we beat Miami and Jacksonville like we should, we get that game in Cleveland. I think so. You get 2 nice games where you should win. I think, and then going to that Buffalo game, you should be rolling. So, what about the NFC? What do you think over there? I think.
Let's see. San
Fran, Dallas, Detroit are 3 locks up top.
Yep, and then it goes. Tampa Bay and the Saints have the same record though, and Tampa Bay just lost to the Saints. So is it like I don't know the optics of the NFC South. If the Saints win the next game, do they win the division?
They win tiebreaker over New Orleans. Tampa Bay does, based on best win percentage in common games. So Tampa Bay plays at the Panthers. They'll win that, obviously.
Okay, so that'll be the Bucs.
They better win that game. And the New Orleans, though, they have to play Atlanta, which Atlanta at times has been I think they got to play at Atlanta too. Let me pull that up. Yeah. Oh no, that's in New Orleans. But I think so. Probably Tampa Bay wins that division though.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay
Tampa.
lose.
Then fifth seed is going to
Philly.
be Philly. Then sixth, LA.
Yeah.
And then seventh, it's either going to be Green Bay
Or Seattle.
or Seattle. But Green Bay wins and they're in. They get the seventh seed.
Yeah. Who are they playing?
It's Chicago.
Ooh,
At
I
Lambeau.
don't know. That's gonna be tough. I mean,
At
Chicago's
Lambeau.
rolling. Seattle plays the Cardinals.
Green Bay's rolling, dude.
Oh,
George Love looks like the real deal.
yeah. I don't know, man.
I'm going to take Green Bay there. I
I'm
think
gonna
Green
take
Bay's done.
Seattle just because I think the Bears are gonna. I think Fields is gonna want to go out there one last time and light it up. And they've been playing well too. The Bears down the stretch. So you're gonna go Green Bay. I'm gonna go Seattle, but I could see Green Bay still. I'm not saying Green Bay can't win, but I'm gonna go Seattle just because I think the Bears are gonna win. But either way, I think we got the same 6, 7
Pretty much
teams.
the same.
Yeah,
Seventh seed
yeah,
in the NFC isn't okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, discourse. But yeah, no, it's going to be an exciting time, especially for Cleveland fans, because buckle up. I think we're going to Vegas. Going to Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. I'm going to be singing it all week if
Yeah.
that's the case. And now, speaking of playoffs, we just witnessed the first round of the college football playoffs. And Alabama needs themselves a quarterback and receivers.
Yeah, I've never seen an Alabama offense look that bad.
Oh my
And
God.
they need a new play caller too. That guy ain't too good.
Everybody was grilling that. They were like 2 timeouts, and that's what you write up is a QB power up the gut. That's all you got.
They
That's
should
all
have
you got
ran
after
it.
2 timeouts.
I don't mind them running him because he's their best weapon on offense with his legs. But use it in different ways. You know what I mean? Like be more creative. Like their play calling was horrible. Like whoever their OC is, I remember and Zach Smith's been chewing him out all year. He's not that good. I mean, it was.
Somebody
I
on
never.
Twitter said that their OC won't see the gates of heaven.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
Some people take it real serious, but I hope he does. But no, I mean, their O line struggled in the first half because they're a young O line, but they adjusted in the second half. They made the adjustments in the second half,
Yeah,
and they
their
were in
center
that game.
was
I actually thought I think it was like 8 minutes left in that game, maybe a little
they
less.
could have
I
won.
thought they had it. I mean, he turned the ball over. Granted, Michigan didn't capitalize on it, but still, like you could have chewed more time out the clock there in that drive. You probably
Yeah.
would have went down and kicked another field goal, which would put you up by touchdown, and you would have really put more pressure on them. The momentum wouldn't have swung like that. But I mean, you got to give Michigan credit. I mean, Michigan is a very good team. They're a very well balanced team, and they're just like a tough.
Very
They're just
physical thing.
they're a physical team, but they're just your typical. I mean, tough veteran team because I mean, if anybody benefit from the COVID, like the COVID extra eligibility thing, where guys got extra years, it was them more than anybody because they have like 20 something seniors on their team from basically because of that. So. But I mean, here they're just I mean, they're just a well balanced. They just play their game, But you can't do what Alabama did, just give them the game away like that. You can't shoot it's like what Nick Saban said after the game. We shot ourselves in the foot too much,
Yeah,
and you
that
got to be able to throw
fumble
the
from
ball. I mean,
yeah.
they got a great defense. You got Sandra still at corner. You got a great the kid up front, Mason Graham, is a great defensive tackle. I mean, they got guys all over on defense. They're a really good defense, obviously, maybe the best in the country. So you got to have somebody that can throw the ball, and they haven't really gone against a quarterback though this year that can throw the ball because Ohio State didn't have that. I mean, Alabama damn sure didn't have that. Drew Aller at Penn State was not like that this year yet. He can be, but he wasn't that when they played him. They haven't played a quarterback really that's like elite arm. Now they're going to. They're probably going to get
Michael
probably the
Penix
who.
Jr.
I
Should have
mean,
won the Heisman. I will
yeah,
die on
I
this
would
hill,
agree.
dog.
I know people will say like, "Well, Jaden Daniels had a great year. He did,"
He did.
but Michael Penix. I mean,
Oh,
this play right here. My gosh,
dude's a certified dog. God.
like that. I mean, did you? I mean, look at this. Also going slow mo. He drops back. Boom, boom. guy in his face,
Feet set.
his feet set. Let me stay in the pocket. He's throwing basically the receiver open and just throws it on a dime. And then look, he's not even looking at him. The ball's in the air and he's looking back at the other scoreboard on the other end. And just walks away. Look, he don't even look at it. He just walks away like a boss. And then turns. Oh yeah, it's completion. First down.
Yeah.
And it was all night. I haven't seen a quarterback play like that, Mike, in a playoff game in a while. I mean, that was giving me flashbacks of like Watson in college at Clemson.
Yeah,
He did
dude.
that was him, 400 plus yards, multiple touchdowns, clutch. Trevor Lawrence did it at times. Justin Fields obviously was like that. Stroud did it at times, but I mean that was a classic vintage performance last night from him.
Dude. Yeah, and I think he's fantastic. He should be a very high pick. Yeah. I think all three of his receivers are going to be going in the draft. Roman Dunze
is probably the second best receiver in the draft.
Jalen McMillan, all of them are crazy good.
Even the tight end's good. The O-line is stout. They're always stout up front in the O-line. They're physical.
And Braylon Trice.
Hell of a game. Braylon Trice had a great game.
He's an absolute dog. Quinn Ewers did not have a good game.
No, they just had a bad night. They turned the ball over too much. I still like Quinn a lot. I mean, Quinn's going to be – I think Quinn will be possibly number one overall pick in next year's draft. Well, Arch has got a long way to go. He didn't look that great in the bowl this year. I mean, we'll see how he looks next year. I'm sure he's gotten better, but Quinn Ewers is pretty damn good. But he's got incredible talent. But I don't know, man. Both games were great. It was nice to see some meaningful football, and have games like that.
Mm-hmm.
Great games. Now you got Michigan versus Washington. I know you like Washington.
I think
it's tough because this Michigan team is really resilient, and they're a close team. What's that?
What are you about to say?
Well,
you're not going to pick Michigan, are you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still thinking about it, to be honest with you, because I don't know. They got a great defense. And here, when they need to score points, just they score, and they can run that ball like anybody's business, which is they can really control the time of possession. But Washington does that well, and I don't think Michigan's played against a quarterback like Penix all year. And I think Washington, you don't really. I mean, it's not like Michigan's offense is like some explosive offense. They're not. They put together drives when they need to at times, but sometimes they struggle, which is why Alabama probably was pissed after that game yesterday, because for most of that second half till that last minutes of the fourth quarter, J.J. McCarthy had an okay game. He was average. The offense wasn't doing shit in the second half. They weren't doing anything. They don't outside of, Roman Wilson's a nice player, but they don't have many guys that can create separation really. The one kid, 82, was dropping the ball. Obviously Blake Corum's a great college player, but
also going to look great in the brown and orange.
Maybe. And the tight end's nice. They got probably the best O-line in the country, but I don't know. I feel like both these teams are kind of similar in a lot of ways. Because Washington has the better quarterback,
better
receiver, better weapons overall. They're probably the best receiving core in the country.
Yeah.
Tight end's pretty good. O-line is pretty damn good. They got draft picks all over.
Good enough.
Yeah, they got draft picks all over in that O-line. They got Dylan Johnson is a pretty good running back and pretty elusive. I'm gonna go Washington just because they have the best player.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington.
The way that kid's playing right now, he is an NFL. That is an NFL quarterback throwing the ball in tight windows. He has the arm. I heard people say, "Oh, I don't think he's just going to translate in the NFL." And I'm like, why? Why? I don't. He's tall. He's got tall stature. He's athletic.
He's good at throwing the ball. Makes good decisions.
He can throw. He has a big time arm. He throws the ball, which is two things when evaluating quarterbacks for the NFL. Can he throw in tight windows and can he throw on time? He does both of those, which is hard to find nowadays. And he's a leader too. That team. And then he's just a baller. Like, how do you not like this kid? To go out there and to throw that many yards and that many touchdowns, and I don't think he got sacked one time.
Nope.
All night. He was just flowing. He's playing. I think he's just. And one thing about Washington, you can't make many mistakes against them. They're a well-coached team. They don't really make mistakes either. The only mistake they made all night was at the end of the game when the kid ran into the punt returner.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only mistake they made all night. I mean, they don't really make mistakes, and they're not and they make you pay too if you do make mistakes. They capitalize. That offense is for real.
Yeah, I think they're gonna just smoke them. I think Washington's gonna just drop a 40 bomb on them.
Damn, 40 Ps?
Oh, easily, dude. Like with
I
this,
think it'll be it's gonna be a great game. Michigan's not gonna go out there. I mean, Michigan's a great team. I'm not gonna
I think Jim Harbaugh is gonna try his hardest and ultimately come up very short. And
what I don't like about Michigan
pack
though,
his
Mike,
bags to LA, get that Bolt Up shirt, call it a day.
I mean, he's already out there, or he was just out there. Maybe he was looking at real estate last week. I don't know, but so he's already out. You know, he can go to Houston and go back to LA. But,
all right,
but,
it's been great, guys.
Yeah, it's been great. Great season. See you later, the 6-year seniors. All right, let's get out of here. But, no, I think I just Penix right now is just he's just on he's on a
he's
roll.
on another level, dude.
He's on another level, and I don't think Michigan made way too many mistakes yesterday. I mean,
yeah, they were lucky.
The special teams was atrocious, and they just made way too many mistakes. I don't think Washington they didn't really do that, and then they got the best player right now by far. And I saw people today saying that JJ they think JJ is just as good as Michael Penix, and I think he's not. JJ needs to come back to school next year if he wants to go to the NFL and have a good career.
I mean, JJ's never going to be a high pick. I mean, he's
not
going
a
to
first
declare.
rounder. I think if he came back next year and took another leap next year in college, he could be a first round pick.
I think,
and I like the intangibles, and I like the kid as a leader. But
I think he's going to go in the 4th round. I think the Chargers are going to pick him, and he's going to be a decent backup to Justin Herbert on Jim Harbaugh's
he's
Chargers
not Michael
team.
Penix. Michael Penix is
an NFL quarterback.
If I was a GM right now, he'd be number 1 on my quarterback board. Be honest. I mean, I know people have their opinions from Caleb Williams, and I like Drake May, but Michael Penix to me is just different.
He's making an argument to be the 3rd or at best the 2nd quarterback taken. I know you're not a fan, but
I'm not. He's the guy I would definitely
Caleb Williams
give the keys to my franchise to, and he has the talent to back it up, and he's showing it out in big games, which the other guys have not done.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is just so
overrated.
I think he's
yeah.
I think he's great. I think his talent.
He's extremely talented. But
I think he's going to do great in the NFL. I really
would. I give him the keys to my franchise in the locker room with grown men? Hell no. But
I will teach him how to be a pro. The dude knows how to play football.
It's beyond being a pro, though. For me, it's just. I don't know. We'll get into it later on. That's going to be another topic in a couple months.
Yeah, closer to March, April topic.
Yeah.
When is the draft? April something? 13th or some stuff? It's always in the middle of April.
It's always later in April, like the last Thursday of April, I think.
Is it? I think it's early this year then.
Happy
2024. Yeah, I keep forgetting.
Happy 2024, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I know it's in Detroit, so I'm curious to see what Gergs has to say about that.
Watch the show, then get out.
Yeah,
get in your car. Don't stop at red lights.
It might not have high attendance, so I can tell you that. Not like in Cleveland or Kansas City.
Yeah. Next year, quick curve. Next year,
April 25th or 27th.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, last Thursday, which we'll be doing another draft party as well. But
absolutely. I was pretty on point for the most part for my picks. Just want to say that.
We did well last year.
We did very, very well.
We both split because I said Stroud and some other guys. You hit on some other guys. We do pretty well.
Yeah, I knew the Panthers were going to take Bryce Young. I called it. I was like, they're going to do it because
all I said was they shouldn't.
I was like, David Tepper, who spills. By the way, two quick caveats because I want to talk about this.
It made me drop my pen.
David Tepper, a billionaire hedge fund manager / owner of the Carolina Panthers and the Carolina soccer team, MLS team, whatever the fuck they're called, Charlotte United. I don't know. I don't watch soccer. No offense. I think the MLS is great, getting Americans interested in soccer. Cleveland's getting a team next year. I'll probably attend a few games. But you're a billionaire and you're losing to CJ Bernthard and Travis Etienne of the Jaguars, and you are so upset that it said spilled drink. Brother man picked up his like tequila sunrise or whatever the hell it was and just chucks it at a Jags fan, which congratulations to the Jaguars fan, because in Florida that can be considered assault. So that man is gonna get paid.
He threw it at his own fan too. There was a fan there with a
Yeah.
Panthers jersey right there.
Yeah, and dude, like this is all his fault. I've watched so many like mini documentaries from different sports YouTubers, sports writers, what have you, about David Tepper's Panthers, because it is so interesting how much of a train wreck this team is. Because he is a worse version of what Jimmy Haslam used to be. Jimmy, no complaints, Jimmy. You've been doing a great job recently. You're letting Andrew and the boys do their work. Excellent. I couldn't be happier with what Jimmy has done for the Browns. David Tepper is exactly how bad Jimmy used to be. Remember that? When he'd be walking down the street and there was that myth that a homeless man told him to draft Johnny Manziel, and that's the reason we drafted Johnny Manziel, the team that drafted Justin Gilbert because he looked cool and like in games on replays, and that's why they took him in that draft. That Jimmy Haslam is what David Tepper is currently. This dude hired Frank Reich, who I still think is a good NFL coach. I really do. He hires Frank Reich, and Frank Reich hires Josh McCown, who's a great quarterback coach.
Who wanted C.J. Stroud.
They both wanted C.J. Stroud. They both did. David Tepper says, no, I want Bryce Young.
Look,
Frank Reich, you traded away your best receiver, who's one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL, in my opinion, DJ Moore. You traded away 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick, and a 3rd-round pick. You have Bryce Young, Adam Thielen's expiring contract, Brian Burns, who doesn't want to stay there anymore. And, like, what are you doing? Like, you're in fucking no man's land. And all because you wanted to be the guy that said, this is what we're going to do. David Tepper doesn't know football, and he wants so bad to be involved, and he's just like, and he's toxic as hell too. There's a bunch of like reports about him going in the locker room and just cussing people out after a loss. And it's like, dude, you dug your own grave. You keep firing coaches in and out. And like the last decent coach they had was last year, Steve Wilkes, after he took over oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. He's Nebraska's coach now. You know who I'm talking about.
Fan. Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, thank you.
Yeah.
After Matt Rule, you fire him, who he's still paying. You're going to be paying him for 6 more years or something.
Yeah.
Steve Wilkes actually does a decent job with nothing. And then you don't give the job to Steve Wilkes. You fire him. You hire Frank Reich, and which I don't think was a bad move. But then Frank Reich establishes an offense for C.J. Stroud because you told him that you're going to draft the quarterback that he wants, and he wanted C.J. Stroud. And instead you draft Bryce Young.
Yeah, clearly David Tepper.
It's a train wreck, bro. He's an egomaniac.
When I saw that video, number one, with the Stroud stuff, David Tepper clearly seems like he's easily influenced. So he probably was watching ESPN because that's all they were talking about at that time was how great Bryce Young was going to be. He's so much better than Stroud. And there's people writing. I mean, there was some people saying Stroud was like the 4th best quarterback in the draft, which is flat out just ignorant and has been proven right. Or proven wrong, rather. Stroud's proven himself right. He's proved them wrong. But David Tepper, that's just a punk ass move. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it 100. That is a punk ass move. Why don't he get rid of his security and walk down there and get in those stands, and then we'll see what time it is with some real people. Would he do that? Can you imagine that happened in Cleveland Browns Stadium? They would have went up to his booth and dragged him out in the dog pound and beat the hell out of him. And I don't promote violence, but what that guy did was pitiful. He treated human beings like they were nothing. So fuck him in a way. So I don't like that. He looked like a spoiled little brat who didn't have it going his way and threw his drink. He literally threw his drink and that's on people like they were just nobodies That's how he probably thinks of him, because he's got money. Some guy who just somehow made it in life, somehow, but really doesn't mean a whole lot, because
Yeah.
he just look how he treats people. Nobody likes him. He's not a respected owner.
He is the
I wouldn't even put
least
him.
liked
I
one.
wouldn't even put Jimmy Haslam in. I know Jimmy Haslam had his little thing off the side
What
with
he used to be. That's why I prefaced it.
but
Jimmy's
Jimmy
doing a great job. We
Haslam,
like you now, Jimmy.
yeah. But at least though with Jimmy Haslam though, you could tell Jimmy wanted to win.
Yeah, he cares.
He cared. He wanted. He just didn't know how. But he's kind of figured out the formula now. Or he's found the right people rather, and he's figured out what the formula of how to be a successful owner, which is just pay the bills and stay in the back. So
Yeah, exactly.
David Tepper, though, on the other hand, this guy, he wants all the credit. He's just going to ruin his franchise. And I kind of feel bad for Bryce Young, seeing him get hurt in that game the other day. He's going to ruin this kid's career. That's just a punk ass move to throw a drink at somebody like that. No
And the worst,
respect. No, just no care in the world. I'm
and the
sorry, I can't.
yeah,
And this is on my podcast, on my channel. We like to do a lot of spiritual things and helping people and love, and we're all about that, and spreading love and
yeah,
helping others, and but you can't. These fans aren't going to have a voice. This guy could probably rule over all this stuff, and the people forget about like nothing happened. It's another NFL owner, or another owner rather, in sports that gets away with something, but people just let it go. But when a player does something that doesn't really add up to it, in the magnitude of it, it's blown, or a coach rather, it's blown out of proportion. It's the number one story in sports, like it's the biggest crime in American history. But this son of a bitch right here could throw a drink at somebody and leave? No. This guy is an absolute clown, like you said, laid out in many details. I mean, I'm just sorry. That's a clown. That's a punk ass move. Like I keep saying, to throw a drink at somebody, it's classless. It shows who you really are, how you really think about people. It's just a flat out bitch. It's just a bitch made move. That's what it is. And
and the worst part about it is, not
you're
just that
throwing drinks
situation,
on
but
people
I feel
who are paying their hard-earned money to come watch your sorry-ass team play that you put together. I'm going to throw a drink on them and then walk out knowing you have security, that these people tried to come after you to retaliate, because some of them might be a little tipsy, and they might just have like it's like a respect thing too. Like if somebody threw a drink at us at a bar or something, you'd have a problem with it. Like, hey, motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be an issue. Like, it's a respect thing. But this guy knows I have my security. They can't touch me. I'm going to get my little $100,000 car more, my limit, or my whatever. And I'm going to go home and cry about it and pout because I didn't get my way, because I look like a clown right now. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, on top of everything, I think Bryce Young is actually still could be a good football player.
If I was Bryce Young, I would say I would demand a trade this offseason. I'm not playing for this clown. Get me the hell out of here. Get me to Atlanta. Get me to New Orleans. Let me revive my. Get me out to Denver with Sean Payton.
Yeah,
let me revive my
career
in
all those situations. Honestly,
yeah,
the
much
Panthers are such a tire fire. They're going to be horrible for years.
That is the worst. That is now officially the worst organization in all of. Well, I don't know all sports, but definitely in the NFL. But they're on that. They're definitely in the all sports conversation.
They're close.
Yeah, they're close.
All right, that was a great curve. And now on to the last thing. Speaking of bad programs, is Ohio State a bad program? We got to talk about this. I think we got to talk about this.
You can go first. I didn't know we were going to talk about Tepper, because I just kind of went off on that, because I'm sticking up for the people. You know what I mean? I'm sticking up for the people. People that paid their hard-earned money.
Yeah,
and get treated like that.
I think it's a great segue into talking. Now
Ryan Day didn't hurt nobody, so Ryan, you're good.
Yeah, Ryan, you're good. Well, you're not good, but
Ryan
didn't
disrespect anybody. But
yeah, what's that meme where it's like, Ryan Day, you are a bad guy, but you are not bad guy. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll never attack Ryan character. I think Ryan is actually. I think Ryan's a good guy. I think he's a great.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And I like his mental health stances, but we're just judging the football aspect of it, and which is fair. It's Ohio State. We have a high standard here, unlike many other really brands in all sports. So we're expected to win every year, and I think they haven't done that. And I think what I saw Friday, Mike, we'll start there before we wrap. We'll wrap up with this one.
Yeah.
Damn, I could talk. What did you think of that game Friday? Because what I saw Friday was, it's not that they really lost, although they shouldn't have lost. It was just the worst product I've ever seen put out by an Ohio State team. from time the effort,
It was nearly
lack of
unwatchable.
coached. Yeah, I mean, it was just they looked uncoached, unprepared,
Unprepared.
lack of effort. You had a first time quarterback in Devin Brown,
He
who
wasn't ready.
you threw him out in the wolves. He looked unprepared, and then
And you got him
unfortunately,
hurt.
and then he gets hurt, and then Keen Holmes has to come in, who was playing high school football in South Dakota last year. I didn't know they had football in South Dakota. Um, and so he gets to come in, and the kid did the best he could, but he's not. You don't know what he is. He's a high schooler basically. He's a first year college kid. He's got talent, but we don't know what he is. He's not developed already yet, that's for sure. And here, you know what? People got mad at us on our show for the clip I put out 3 weeks ago. What our buddy Jerry said about he hit the nail on the head. Ryan Day's Ryan Day's ability to develop and really his offensive coaching staff is subpar. You can't deny that now. It's undeniable. If you look at the Michigan game, you look at what happened all year, the debacle with Kyle McCord and that whole situation, even back in camp, and I still stand on everything I said back then too, and what really happened, and still stand on that because I know it happened. But it's pretty obvious. And what happened, I mean, and to have Carson Hinsman, your starting center, to come out before the game, which is why he got suspended, by the way, for that game, is because he went on a podcast and basically said, number one, the NIL at Ohio State's a joke, which it is. They haven't figured that out, which is going to be a problem down the road. For some reason, they just haven't figured it out there. But number two, L linemen don't get paid well in the NIL, which he pointed out, which pissed them off. But the third thing he said out of all of it, which kind of goes with the fourth point as well, you know how many times they practice, according to him, and I don't think he would lie about it, up to this game? You had a whole month to practice for this game with a first-time starting quarterback who's never played a full game in his life. You know how many times they practice, Mike?
Was it 6?
6 times they practice in a month. Whatever mine was there, they practiced like 6 times in 4 days. I mean, basically, you went through 6 practices in 4 days because Urban would get to the point it would be 2 hours in a 3-hour practice. If he didn't like it, he'd restart practice. That's just how it was. We're practicing for 7 hours. So I don't give a shit.
Yeah, what did you say about Urban's Ohio State handed him a Ferrari, and while Ryan Day didn't crash it, they had
he turned it into it had the value of a Ferrari going on a Bugatti, and he turned it into a Honda.
Yeah.
Not even a new Honda.
I don't know how you continue.
A used based 2006 Honda Civic. That's what it turned into. You know what I mean? They don't have Bluetooth in that thing. It's that bad. So, and they don't have a sunroof. There's no sunroof in that. No sunroof, no nothing. Just the pitiful, just junker car on its last wheels going to shit. That's what this is right now. And Carson Hinsman even point out there, he goes, man, when Urban was here, practices were way harder. We were pushed more. Then he made comments too, I guess, like he didn't like his like physical goals they had set for him or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. That's what I read in the article because they took down the podcast immediately. Yeah. There was so much, it just blew up all of a sudden because people were like, damn, what this kid's saying. It was some fireworks, but a complete debacle right now in Columbus. I just don't think Ryan Day's the guy. I mean, he's probably going to get one more year because he lucky for him, they have a transition at athletic director this offseason. So it's probably going to give him another year. So he has one more year to get it done, and he better he needs a whole new offensive coaching staff.
He needs
Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline's a great recruiter and probably a good receiver coach, but he's only on like a 33% hit rate so far on all his receivers since he's been here, which isn't high. He's not an offensive coordinator. He doesn't know run schemes or blocking schemes or anything like that. He's not an OC. So we'll just put that. He needs to be back demoted to receiver coach. I mean, and they have for a first-time head coach, Ryan Day, he hired in-house, this is a mistake Dabo Swinney made all year at Clemson the last 2 years. He hired in-house, and he has 4 first-timers on his offensive coaching staff. That's a problem.
Hit the nail on the head.
Usually at Ohio State, you have guys that are getting ready to go get head coaching jobs as your 4 coaches. Like that means they've been around the block. You know what I mean? They got experience, they got grit, style. They just don't have that. And the staff just doesn't look like the offensive staff. I think the defense with Knowles has done some pretty good. I think the defense is fine. I think Knowles has done a great job there. They had a really good defense this year. They were top ranked, top 25. I think they'll get better there too. They recruit more of their guys now. But defense is fine. The defense played well too Friday. They got gassed out because their offense wasn't doing shit, which has been the problem all year. And because I mean, the offensive staff, when you even look at the staff, it just doesn't look like a bunch of guys like football coaches. Outside of Tony Alford, the running back coach, who has 20-plus years experience and was here with Urban, who's a great coach and should stay, they don't really – I mean, the O-line was pitiful. I mean, I thought the O-line played better throughout that. Justin Fry, the O-line coach, did better with them throughout the year. I think they improved.
Yeah.
But he's also part of the staff. Brian Hartline's a big question mark now. He needs to be really questioned. Parker Fleming, and you got Corey Dennis, the quarterback coach, and I think all these guys are probably going to have to be evaluated. And if I'm Ryan Day, I might have to call the OC at Washington, or I might have to call Phil Longo up at Wisconsin, although that could be down the road, could bite him in the ass, because if Phil Longo comes here and they do well, but they still underachieve, well, guess what? If Luke Fickle wants a job, Phil Longo's his guy. He's already on his staff, so it's just going to be a renaissance here in Columbus. But he's got to do something. He's got to shake this shit up, because he's going to have one more year unless he leaves, which could happen. I wouldn't put it past him. It might be too much, the pressure. You never know. He could just leave. But he's got one more year. And if he don't win the national championship next year, he's gone.
Bye-bye.
I mean, even if he beats me, because Michigan next year is going to be a down year. Harbaugh's probably gone. You better beat Michigan at home next year.
Yeah. I mean, they're losing Roman Wilson. They'll probably lose.
They're losing a ton of these guys.
JJ McCarthy, Chris Jenkins. I mean, Junior Colson's gone. I mean, Jesus.
Their offensive line, we all
Edwards,
knew.
Drake Nugent, Zach Zinter.
Nugent's gone. Zach Zinter's gone. Well, I think Cornelius is gone.
Yeah.
All these Sanders still's gone. I mean, the whole team's pretty much gone next year, and the recruiting hasn't like the best for that class. Next year could be a little drop off, possibly, which is Gerg's even brought up on the show. But again, I mean, if you don't win the national championship next year, or I mean, it's a shame watching all that over the weekend and knowing Ohio State's not even close.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like, there was past years, like when they won the Rose Bowl in 21 with Stroud, how well Stroud played that game, and Smith the Jigga went off for like 300-something yards. You were kind of like, okay, we got hope next year. Like, we can come back. You know what I mean? And you still believed. When they lost in, what was it, 2015, they came back and won that Fiesta Bowl. And you were like, okay, we've had many times in the past where they still finished the year. You didn't feel like we're that far behind. Friday, I feel like you're that far behind because the coaching and the culture is just not where it used to be, which is a major problem in college sports. If you don't have that. And I agree. I don't know what's going on down there in Columbus. Some of these Sunshine fans, like the Sunshine population, as we call them, down in Columbus, that keep like to argue with us on our in the comments on these videos, even though we keep proving we're being proven right. Everything's just fine. Everything will be okay. You can't hang your hat on the same old Ohio State, because they're not. They're not. They've never had a head coach like this take over the program, and they do, and look what's happened. He's not an Ohio guy. Doesn't really come from a football community growing up. I know where he grew up. They're not like, it's not like a big, heavy football community up there in New England. I mean, they got the Patriots, but that they don't, you know what I mean? He's not. Now, he's worked his way. Obviously, he's earned his way all the way to where he is now. He's been a great coach along the way at times, but as a head coach, he's just not. They're just soft too. They don't prioritize the trenches. You even look at their recruiting. That's a problem. That's why they're just getting the hell beat out of them up front.
Yeah.
So
it's a shame, dude.
There's a lot of
a soul for a soul, though. If this means the Cleveland Browns are good, I'm okay with it. I'll trade Ohio State for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I'm a Browns fan at heart first. I mean, I grew up.
Same.
There's nothing like, and I like Browns fans better, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of Browns fans are Ohio State fans, but there's just something. There's a different. I've been to an Ohio State game, and I went 2014 with the national championship team and a night game against Illinois. And don't get me wrong, it was an incredible experience. When Urban was there too, that place was unbelievable, and the tradition and everything. And I think but they haven't really improved that either. They got to improve their in-game experience and stuff, I think, but they got to get the NIL thing figured out and get this. They need to get all this shit figured out.
They got to get a lot figured out.
They got to get it. They need to rechange every. I mean, it needs, but they're not like Browns games. Let me tell you. I mean, Browns fans could be put in a little parking lot in the middle of nowhere and still have the funnest time of their lives and watch a game. I mean, Browns fans are just unique. Going to the games are just unique. It's a different culture. It's a different vibe. There's nothing like it, and anywhere in the country, in the world, there's nothing like it.
I agree.
But Yeah, Ohio
The
State.
categories.
Yeah, the cat's probably bitching too. She's probably still going off on we did the annihilation we did of David Tepper, but
Yeah.
was not expecting to go that deep, but I did. But I mean, we didn't lie. I mean,
Yeah. No.
you're done by your
I
actions.
think
Sorry.
we. I
You
think
want
we
to
hit
treat
all
people
of them.
disrespectful, you get matched with disrespect. That's how
Hell yeah.
we're
And
for
David
the
Tepper hears all the
we're for the
criticism. I hope he hears us.
oh, I hope he does too. Then come hit this link. We can argue, but I doubt you will. But because you're not gonna hear us. But
Yeah.
if you did, yeah, come hit the link. Anybody want to come hit the link? Come hit this link.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wait. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know what you think about Week 18 matchups. If you're not a Browns fan, is your team in playoff contention or have they already clinched? What do you think of the college football playoffs? Are you a fan of any of the teams in the college football national
I will
championship?
say though about that one thing I want to point it out. We do kind of technically have 2 Big Ten teams in it.
Yeah.
Washington's technically a Big Ten team now. I mean, I know this
Yeah.
year's they're under the Pac-12 label, but
I hope they win. The script writers couldn't get it any better.
I will
Last year,
say this though.
Pac-12.
I know Ohio State fans can't stand what they're seeing, but you got to. But that Michigan team's really good, and I think this could be a hell of a game in Houston.
Yeah. Go Huskies.
Yeah, go Michael Penix. I like that kid. I'm a fan of that kid. That kid is man.
He's a slinger, dude.
That's a baller.
Richard Slinger out there, bro.
And I gotta give a shout out 6-0 Academy, Matt McChesney. He trained his guy, Drake Nugent, the center for Michigan, the best center in the country. He's gonna be a 10+ year pro. He was unbelievable yesterday. He's been unbelievable all year. So shout out to Drake Nugent. And I just want to shout out Matt McChesney. Yeah, he's one of my favorite people out there. That's why I had to wear the shirt today. Yeah, shout out to him.
Shout out Mr. McChesney.
And shout out to Joe Flacco. Just for the
shout
hell
out
of it.
Joe Flaccavelli, dude.
Just for the hell of it. Shout out Kevin Stefanski.
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year. I mean, like we said, I heard somebody say John Harbaugh should be coach of the year.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, John Harbaugh hasn't even come close to the adversity.
I'd probably put him third on my list because he has had some adversity. I think he's done a great job this year, but I would still probably put Houston's coach second and our coach.
Yeah, it goes Kevin Stefanski, DeMeco Ryans, and
then John
Campbell for me, actually.
See, I would have Harbaugh over Campbell. Harbaugh hasn't cost him. What do you think of that, real quick, before we get out of here, of that Detroit game? I
don't know.
Trying to get a little. I think Detroit kind of did it to themselves in a way, because you're trying to get a little too cute like that late in the game, and it kind of just bit him in the ass.
Yeah.
But Dallas had a call too earlier, a couple plays previous, where they kind of got hosed on a call too. So
yeah, but like I don't know, man. Like that referee team got demoted. So obviously, if they didn't do something wrong, I doubt they would have been demoted.
I don't know. The whole thing was just weird to me.
It's really weird. I don't know what to make of it.
But yeah, I don't know. But what I mean by getting cute is just kind of like those guys
like after the penalty and you're pushed back though. Like if you're Dan Campbell, why not just kick the extra point?
I agree. Yeah, trust your team and go to overtime. But
like I get doing it the first time, but like after that offsides, I would have just kicked the extra point.
Well, and the reason why I say it's not like it's just like when Michigan called the flea flicker yesterday's game. You're kind of like that was a real risk. Like you don't want to do that late in games because
it can cost.
You're asking these linemen who don't know. Obviously, they don't ever run routes in practice. I would hope not. They're on the blocking sled. They're not used to doing that. It's not like you do this all the time. So when you're late in the game, and look, somebody made a mistake somewhere along the way. Somebody didn't report. There was a mistake made, and it cost them the game. And people want to blame the refs for it, but clearly there had to be some mistake made somewhere along the way. So, and I think that's why Dan Campbell was pissed out the game. Is he probably, if they get in that situation again, do you think he does that again? Probably not this year. So I don't know. But Mike, Why don't you tell them when I need to like, subscribe, and share? Like, oh, you already
You need.
did it. Well,
I'm going to do it again now.
Really tell them why. Well, we need to really tell them why.
You got to like and subscribe, comment, and share because it helps us out. And we enjoy talking to you guys. And I hope you guys like listening to us. And we love to hear your opinions on sports as well. So that is why you should subscribe to The Real if you haven't. Like and share because we'd love to fight the algorithm and get our name out there as much as possible. And we love you. And we want to keep doing this. Come on, guys. Help
David
us out.
Tepper, we still love you. Hopefully, you know.
I don't love you, David Tepper.
No, yeah.
I don't love you.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not a Panthers fan, in the NFC South.
I'm not either.
Legitimately nothing to me. But like
everybody, it's love and support for everybody. Yeah, we want to help.
Yeah, Bryce Young, praying for you every day. Adam Thielen, I'll remember you as a Viking. You don't have to worry. Don't you worry. El Giro Evero, I hope I said your name right. I'm really sorry you took a job there. But yeah, Frank Reich.
I agree with you. I ain't gonna.
Yeah.
Prayers. Prayers for everybody. We need prayers too. Pray for us.
Pray for us.
Everybody needs prayer. The country needs prayer.
Hell yeah. America.
With the wrong hand.
Wait.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.
We're out of here and we're gone.
Later.